On today's episode of Phinside The NFL, we are previewing Thursday Night Football as the Miami Dolphins take on the Buffalo Bills. We'll go over my keys to victory, my matchup to watch. It's a tag team battle today. Plus, we will talk about the Miami Dolphins having the ability to change narratives with a win this week. We will talk about so much on today's episode, so do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you are new, and let's get into this.
Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, that open, touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown again! Let's go! Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fire to the end zone. Touchdown!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one, and I welcome you in to today's preview show, powered by our sponsor, BetUS. Make sure you go check them out at betus.com. Appreciate all y'all coming through today. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit more as Tyreek Hill once again addresses the incident with the police officers. We're going to go into my game preview, and we're going to talk a little bit about the meaning of this game and what's really at stake. Haven't done one in a while, so I want to shout everyone out. First of all, shout out to Jamie. Says, hello, Reason and Fins Nation from San Jose, California. It's hump day. I hope everyone is having a great week. Remember to smash the like button. You got to smash that like button, man. Smash it, smash it, smash it. Appreciate you, Jamie. Hope you're doing well. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Haven't done one of these in a while. Pro Special, Jason Keck, Robert Thomason, Knight, Andrew Harris, Cool Iguana, Omar Brown, B-Rob, Shelby Hughes, Aladino Mass, Jason Stamps, Robert Thomason, Timothy Washington, Scotty Joe, Kurok 1972, New Attitude. Who else we got in here? Omar Ginner 99. Steve V, Taryn Langover, Josh Hart, Nick Queck, Tori Dixon, Brad Martin. Shout out to the homie Brad Martin. DDS CLA, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights, Darth Logan's up in here, Gavin Hatch, M Cord, EM Baller, Troy Hicks, Deontay Monroe, Matos, Paul Holland, Griffin Gaming, what's going on? Stevie TV, what's going on, all of you? I hope you all doing very well so far today. Man, the Dolphins, they're in a unique position this week. Shout out to Philemon Aragon. Man, shout out from Colorado. He says, engaging in the physiological warfare against these Bronco fans. Tile Man Dan, Rip Tupac, Robert Carrillo, TC on Sticks, Warrior 777. Appreciate you, Cool Iguana, for digging the hat. Appreciate you, sir. Yeah, this hat is fire, man. You know what I'm excited about? Daniel Taylor, what's going on? Guys, tomorrow night, Kevin Williams, what's going on, sir? Dana Boyce, Jeff Fremont. Here's the deal. Tomorrow I'm debuting. I'm nervous. Tomorrow we're debuting the new background here at Phinside The NFL, and there's so much gear I can now wear because I don't have a freaking green screen behind me. Now, I'm still going to use this background every now and then, but I'm mainly going to go to my new background because I have it set up where I can basically pull my green screen in front of my new background. But I this is something I've been working on for December, so I'm going to ride it out. Well, since I mentioned it first last September, October, got the first piece of it in September. I'll break it all down because I finally got in those two final pieces I was waiting on. So they finally came in, so we're good to go. Damn, Kevin Williams says he's dealing with kidney stones, brother. Not fun. I remember I had one in my 20s and I woke up in excruciating pain. I didn't even feel it pass through, but yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. So yeah, shout out to you, man. Phenomenal pod. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Shout out to everyone in the chat, man. Shout out to all of you coming through and supporting on this Wednesday. If you haven't had a chance, go check out the breakdown yesterday. It was a lot of work. We broke down every play of Tua Tagovailoa from week 1, me and Martin did. So go check that out if you hadn't had the chance. Yeah, we got content coming. Tomorrow I'll be live with my new background for the Bills game, the Bills-Dolphins game. All right. Shout out to Randy Constance coming through. And then, we're gonna have some, even though there's college football and Sunday football, there's content we got to drop this weekend. So we got a lot of stuff coming your way. Recap show on Friday. I'm probably going to do a post game right after the game ends. All right. Maybe like 15, 20 minutes after the game ends. We'll go live for a post game. So I'll have a post game coming for you after the game tomorrow night. Yeah, just a lot of content coming your way. So, and then obviously we got to do the film. We'll do the recap on Friday. I got to dive into the film at some point this weekend. I know Neil, me and him were talking about doing a Fin Too Deep episode on Saturday. We'll see how that goes because I might swap that out for the film breakdown and then do just Fin Too Deep next week. So, it's for content creators, the shift from week 1 to week 2 on a short week kind of throws everything in a flux. Right? Like that's how it all works. Like, we kind of have our shows scheduled out for every week during the season. And then when you have short weeks, it kind of throws everything out. So TC on 6 says, y'all don't want to talk about Shannon Sharpe. What's there to talk about, man? This man goes live on Instagram while he's getting it in. All right? That's what TC on 6 is referring to. Shannon Sharpe was, how do I say this? Was, with a lady friend, and they were doing their damn thing, and he decided to go on Instagram live. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely nuts. I can't wait to see that segment on Nightcap. So, yeah, the video's circulating, and, you got Shannon doing his thing. You got his lady friend growing, his lady friend, groaning. He said it was hacked. How you going to hack? What, did the lady reach over in the middle of it and hit the go live button? I don't know. I didn't watch the whole video. Like I watched like 10 seconds of it, heard the groaning, and I was like, yo, I'm out on this. I don't need to hear Shannon Sharpe, fornication noises on my Wednesday. I'm good. You know what I mean? That's something I can live and do without. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah. Hey man, do the thing. I don't know what else to say. Like I said earlier, though, this preview video, it is sponsored by BetUS. Guys, they have the Dolphins favored by 1 point right now. The Dolphins are the favorite on BetUS for tomorrow night's game. On the money line and on the spread, the Dolphins are the favorite. So go over to BetUS. Right now, they are offering a new promotion. No longer is it 125% they'll match. Now they'll match 150% up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. All you have to do is go ahead and use code YouTube150. That's YouTube 150, and you will get a 150% deposit match on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Hey man, there's still time to go smash some money down on this money line or this spread, and there's also time to go put some money down on Tua winning the MVP and Tyreek winning Offensive Player of the Year. So go do that thing, and shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's show. As always, please, if you're going to gamble, gamble responsibly. All right. So there is that. Now, I didn't do it Monday. But I didn't forget. So we're going to do it right now. All right. We're going to do it on the preview show. It's back, baby. We do it every season during the week, every week, usually on every recap show. The Jabroni of the week. You know we got to go with the Miami Police Department. I mean, what are we saying here? You know we got to go with the Miami Police Department as the Jabroni of the week. After what went down with Tyreek Hill. Listen, sure, was Tyreek Hill using a little lip? Okay, cool. First of all, these officers have heard way worse during their time on patrol. That's number one. Number two, your whole job is to de-escalate situations, not escalate situations. You had the dude with the tattoos escalating the Tyreek Hill being asked to get out of the car. You have him escalating Tyreek Hill being sat down on the curb. You have the original officer that knocked on the window and told Tyreek to knock down the window, to roll down the window and keep it down. He escalated the situation with Jonnu Smith, who was listening to another officer who was asking him to leave, and basically telling him, hey, I got him to leave, and that other officer was de-escalating the situation, but this guy wanted to come in and escalate it again. Then you got the aggressiveness with the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Like, come on. So the Miami Police Department, how they've handled this situation, I have got to give them the Jabroni of the week. There ain't no doubt about it. All right. So you knew that one was coming. Sometimes you just know, right? Sometimes you just know what it's going to be. So that's my Jabroni of the week. All right. So now let's go a little further into this, because before we get into the game preview and everything like that, I got a few things I want to talk about. First of all, that's a perfect transition into what Tyreek Hill said today. Shout out to Dad Dean. So let's get into what Tyreek Hill said. Dad Dean says, reason I was a Broward Sheriff Office deputy from 94 to 96, and one of the reasons I left was because of cops like this one Jabroni. There you go. Listen, y'all want to see the cops get it? You want to see a really good movie if you haven't had a chance to? Go check out Rebel Ridge on Netflix. That movie was absolutely phenomenal. I suggested it to the wife. The wife loved it when it was done. You want to see the officers get theirs without all being murked? Just a badass movie? Go check out Rebel Ridge. All right? Go check that movie out. Trust me, you'll like it. Don Johnson's in it and everything. It was fantastic. So anyways, Tyreek Hill said he could have handled the traffic stop better, but calls for the officers firing. Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill on Wednesday, Tyreek Hill, He expressed regret for not immediately following police orders after a traffic stop on Sunday, but also called for the dismissal of the police officer who pulled him from his vehicle and handcuffed him after he refused to pull the car window down completely. At a Wednesday news conference at Dolphins headquarters, Hill repeatedly implored Miami-Dade County to fire 27-year-old Miami-Dade police officer Danny Torres, who pulled Hill from his car. See, this is the dude. This is the tatted dude I'm talking about, who pulled Hill from his car and kneeled on his back while placing him in handcuffs and forced him to the ground. Again, a minute later, Miami-Dade County has placed Torres on administrative duty while an internal investigation is conducted. Gone. He got to go, man, Hill said of Torres, because in that instance right there, not only did he treat me bad, he also treated my teammates with disrespect. He had some crazy words towards me, and they ain't even do nothing. Like, what did they do to you? They're just walking on the sidewalk, so I don't know. He got to go. There's not too many times that cheetahs say people got to go, but you out. What do they say on Wildin' Out? Gone. Hill was referring to teammates Calais Campbell, who was handcuffed, and Jonnu Smith, who both stopped their cars when they saw Hill in handcuffs outside Hard Rock Stadium a couple of hours before Sunday's home opener against Jacksonville. Torres' legal representation called Hill to facilitate an apology from Torres, but Hill said he declined to accept the officer. Hill, who received citations for careless driving and seatbelt violations, acknowledged that he should have followed orders to pull his window down, but added that police pulling him out of his car was not justified. I have family members who are cops, Hill said. We have had conversations, yes. I will say I could have been better. I could have let down my window in that instant, but the thing about me is I don't want attention. I don't want the cameras out, phones on you in that moment. But at the end of the day, I'm human. I've got to follow rules. I've got to do what everyone else would do. Now, does that give them the right to literally beat the dog out of me? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, I wish I could go back and do things a bit differently. Hill said he was at a movie theater Monday night when Drew Brooks, the Dolphins director of team security, informed him that the body camera footage was released. He left the theater to watch the footage and said he felt embarrassed by the situation. I felt like I handled myself well in that situation, he said, but obviously, like I said, I can be better. But it's shell-shocking, man. It's really crazy to know that you have officers in this world that will literally do that with body cams on. It's sad. It's really sad, which brings up another conversation and leads into what they would have done if they didn't have body cams, which is even crazier. So it's a lot to unpack. Hill said he would not conduct any police protests at Thursday's game or otherwise. He said he did not want to defend the police, and he said he loves the police and wants to be an officer one day. Asking if he has a message for how people should handle themselves in a similar situation, Hill said, I don't have a message for them yet, but I'm sure I will. So ask me that question again next week sometime. I'm pretty sure I will, because right now I'm in the process of putting together a good plan so that I can work with those guys. We have influence on the community, and I don't think we should use this as a moment to separate people, divide people, or make it a battle or anything like that, because I still love cops. I want to be a cop. I've been standing on the table for cops, but at the end of the day, right now, what I'm focused on is my job, and that's to play football. Hill said he told his family that what I went through the other day has happened at the right time in my life because of the way I've matured, the way I've been handling myself with my kids, stepping up as a father, just all of that. So the older I've been getting, the more I've been realizing how important it is for me to just be a pro's pro. All right, story time with Reason. Okay. Monday night, and I'm just setting a scene here, okay, because this is the cops. I put out that tweet that blew up. It got over like 3 million views. It got over 20,000 likes and all that stuff about the situation. Everyone knows how I feel about the situation. Could Tyreek have been a little less rude with, hey, why are you banging on my window like that? Or don't tell me what to do? 110%. Now, I will still say it's not illegal to roll the window back up. And he just told you what I said, what I thought the reason was he put the window back up. He just didn't want, people walking by as everyone's filing in through cars and walking into, he didn't just want the attention while everyone was walking into Hard Rock Stadium, which I get it. I've already covered this. The police officers should know luxury cars in that area a few hours before game day, most likely they are football players, et cetera, et cetera. There's just a lot. All right. So, no, Brittany, because I don't leave my, I don't get death threats on Twitter because I don't leave my DMs open. My DMs are closed. I have to follow you for my DMs to be open for you. It works wonders. Trust me. Okay. So story time. This is my week with cops. Okay. As a fan and as a content creator, I've had to cover this Tyreek Hill situation. Monday night. Here you go. Check this one out. Monday night. All right. now let me set the scene actually before I get to Monday night. My daughter, my oldest daughter, 6 years old. She's just went into grade 1. She has a group of 4 friends. All right. And she's in the group of 4 friends. So she got 3 other friends. One of those friends, the wife, the mother of one of the daughters has come really close with my wife. And now my daughter's friend's mother is married to a police officer. Okay. So he is the father of my daughter's friend. Now, before they went back to school, we went to the park together. He brought his daughter. I brought my daughter. We hung out for like an hour and a half talking, Now there were a few things he said that really struck me. I'll give you some examples. I asked him about when he's on downtime, do you sit in parking lots? Do you just sit in parking lots and just chill and talk to your guys? And he says, no, I'm the type of guy where I drive around till I find something. And, I dealt with police officers in my teens, into my 20s, and I looked at him like, oh, okay, super cop, all right? Then he went on to proceeded to tell me about incidents where he roughed up some people who were detained or under arrest because they were getting lippy. To one of the stories he told me, he roughed up this guy in a hospital. Doctors and nurses came in and he basically admitted to me, I know what protocol to say they broke for me to be able to use force. So he basically told me, I know what to say when I'm questioned in terms of what to say as a reason to use force against these people. All right. So I'm sitting there, and this is 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, well, and you wouldn't think he lets his, his young kid in public will hit on him, beat on him. And I was just like, okay, that's a little excessive, but whatever. All right, cool. Okay. So, file that up. Monday night, my wife gets her phone blown up in the middle of the night by my daughter's friend's mother. This guy, this police officer, who's got 3 daughters of his own, this group of friends I've told you my daughter has, they've all been around him. This guy decided to beat up his wife. This guy decided to punch her in the throat, punch her in the ribs, get her to the ground, and he did what the officer did to Tyreek. He put instead of putting his knee on his back, he put his knee on her throat. All right? So what did he do? When he got up off of her, and she was mad, and she started fighting back. And he led her outside. She smacked him in the back of the head, and her phone was in her hand. And because she was told him, I called the police, da-da-da-da-da. So when he heard she called the police, he walked outside, she followed him, smacked him in the back of the head with the phone. All right? And what happens? There's cameras outside. Police show up. They don't believe her. He shows them the footage, said, no, we had an argument. She followed me outside. She hit me. I never hit her. And he works in a different region. The police of the region we're in, while on site, called his staff sergeant from his region. What does his staff sergeant say to the police officers? Don't believe her. What did he do? Filed a restraining order. Got her basically kicked out of the house. So he keeps the kids right now until now there's lawyers getting involved until the divorce is finalized and everything like that. I say all that to say this. These guys know what they're doing. And it's a brotherhood. They're going to protect each other. You want to know how I know that? Apparently they had got into another one of these physical altercations a few weeks prior. She called his partner and said, this is what's going on. You need to calm him down and get him to stop. Partner got on the phone, calmed him down, stopped him. The partner knows what's going on, but the partner will not stick up for her and get involved. It's a brotherhood. I say all that to say this. why am I not shocked that even after reviewing the body cam footage of what happened to Tyreek, the police department still put out statements defending this guy? Yeah, we found out, listen, the oldest daughter, she gets a little physical sometimes, like she'll hit her friends and stuff. We found out that he spanks her like it's the 80s. This is how this, and this is a police officer. They just moved into a new house 4 weeks ago. Their neighbors behind them and their neighbors beside them gave statements to the police talking about how aggressive this guy is. And I said to my wife, and I said to the mothers of all the friends, because we all talked about it at drop off this morning, I said, they've been there for 4 weeks. What has this guy done in public over 4 weeks that's got the neighbors convinced this guy's off his rocker and aggressive? That's got to be some pretty excessive crap. This is what the deal is. Police officers can get away with all this stuff. I knew someone back in the day, a female, who they met up with a bunch of college friends. There was a group in the college friends who was a police officer. I don't know if he still is, but was a police officer at the time. They used to have a little thing for each other in college. They never got together or anything like that because they both were in relationships. But he followed her to a bathroom when all the friends got together. Followed her right into the bathroom because these guys think they can do what they want and get away with what they want. People do not understand the egos that go with these jobs. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. Don't get me wrong. I don't like to blanket this because there's a lot of good ones out there. I've met them. There's a lot of good police officers out there. But when you start running into these bad ones, they are bad. And it's almost like a gang where they have each other's back and they don't want to hear nothing about it. So, it's I just, police to me, obviously police are necessary, okay? At the end of the day, we don't want robots out there with no conscience, no human side, no sympathy or empathy, just reacting by the book. You know what I mean? But those same the same human factors are the reason why we get these people that are corruptible, or they have a bad day, so they'll take it out on someone they pull over. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, these are humans and humans are flawed. There's no way around it. No one is perfect. So, yeah, we don't need RoboCop, right? So, I don't know. But like I said, there's tons of good cops out there that, they just want to go do their job and they just do want to protect and serve the community, right? And the bad ones out here are the ones who make their lives even difficult. So, right? It is what it is. And listen, we can go into, if anyone's seen the movie Cocaine Cowboys, I mean, we all know what the deal is, right? We all know that in the 80s, they started being way more lenient with the hiring process in terms of people with backgrounds. Who knows how many of those people worked their way up the ladder and then let other people come in who had questionable and shady backgrounds just because they used to be in that position. We don't know. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy, but listen, because I'm the type of person like Tyreek. When I hand my ID and information, which Tyreek did, I roll up the window too. And if you look at the video, the guy looks like he's looking at the VIN number and then that he's going to walk back to his car and issue the citation. I'm the same type. I roll the window up too. So, I don't know. The problem is you need police to police the police. That's where we're getting at right now. But even still, when you do internal affairs and all these guys, they still have the police's back. So it's crazy. You know? Anyways. Hopefully this gets settled. Hopefully we can all move on with our lives. All right? That's just that. So, it is what it is. Don't ever let it be what it ain't. So, let's get into it. Bills week. We're there. All right? It is Bills week. Let's start off with a few things from today, and then let's get into the preview, but it's all about Bills week. So, this was Tua after the Jacksonville game on Goat Farm Media. If you haven't had a chance, go check out his video on Rear View. This is what he said regarding Bills week.
Leaning into this upcoming week, we play Thursday Night Football against the Bills. Now, we know what our record has been against the Bills. We know that this has been the Bills division. Really, we can't have a start the way we did today against the Bills. So we're looking at honing in on what we do really, really well. We just got to make smart decisions. We got to go out and play clean, sound football. You know, we don't got to do anything outside of what we've been working on throughout OTAs and throughout training camp.
And this is what Mike McDaniel said today about Bills week.
Yes.
If you want to do anything in this league, generally, you can't skip over the much mandated step of winning your division. And there's one team that's won the division consecutive years. That you could say that they by de facto own the division until somebody takes it from them. So that's just, I think it's pretty obvious. But I think it's also something that they have earned, and we would like to be in a situation where we earn the same thing, and there's one way to do that. You got to beat your division opponents, and we have our first of 6 division games. So
this is what Zach Sealer said about Bills week.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting to. It's difficult, you getting used to your pads again, kind of getting a feel for the thing, your rhythm in check again. But at the same time, it's Buffalo. Like, it's a division game. It's time to take the East and let's go for it. So I think it's really exciting to kind of hit the ground running early on in the season and show what we're made of right up front.
The Miami Dolphins have an opportunity to change some of the narratives in the media with a win tomorrow night. That's just a fact. You listen to Tua, you listen to McDaniel, you listen to Zach Sealer. The team realizes what's at stake here. You had a chance in 2022 to sweep them, and you blew it in the second game, and then obviously you just got squeaked by with the Buffalo Bills narrowly defeating you with Skylar Thompson in the playoffs. I mean, you had a season where if Tua was healthy, they possibly could have swept them in the season and then beat them in the first round of the playoffs, and they would have completely dissolved this narrative. But now you have the chance to start to change the narrative this week about not being able to beat legitimate playoff teams, about the Bills being your daddy, about Josh Allen owning you. And I think this is a necessary win too, because you need the confidence set up for week 9 when you are going to head to Buffalo. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if this team wins tomorrow night, look out. Look out for this team if they win tomorrow night. Confidence will be through the roof. You will have had the comeback victory at one point down 14-0, and then coming back to beat the Jags 20-17. And then if you beat the Bills on top of that, you've slayed the demon. Now you still got to go beat them one more time. But this is a huge game for this team's confidence and for the narrative surrounding this team. A lot more people in the media are going to take you seriously if you win tomorrow night, especially if you win decisively. Like, if you win decisively, you will change narratives 110%. And I will be the first one to sit here and say they've arrived. Russell says it's time to change. It's our division, 30-28 Miami. Why I played those clips is because, they've talked about changing the narrative about the playoff wins. And they all realize it's been 24 years since we've all celebrated a playoff win. They all realize that they have to get this monkey off their back to accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish. You can't lose twice to the Bills and lose the division to the Bills, but then still assume you are going to run through the playoffs and make a Super Bowl run. That's the reality of the situation, and I think they know that. I think they know this is one of the first major steps to accomplishing what they want to accomplish in the playoffs. Because this will not only prove to all of us fans and to everyone in the media, but this would prove to themselves that they can play with the big boys. And I think you're going to see some different stuff tomorrow. I think you're going to see Jonnu Smith being a little bit more involved. I think you're going to see different looks from the defense, because remember how multiple that defense was for the Ravens last year and how they switched everything up, depending on the opponent. I've talked about this multiple times where when you look at it, right, like when you look at week 2 for the Ravens last year, right, they played 22.8% of their coverage in cover 1, whereas the week before 23.6% was in cover 6, which was the most. Second most was cover 3 in 20.8%. And then against the Colts in week 3 after the Bengals, they played cover 1 about 39.3%, but then they faced the Browns and they were mainly in cover 3 and cover 4. And when you look at their blitz rates, right, they blitzed Joe Burrow only like 11.6% of the time, but then they went up to 51% the next week against the Colts, and then against the Browns, they went down to like a 14% blitz rate. So I think you're going to see multiplicity from this defense and how they attack Josh Allen. You're not going to see a similar game plan to what we saw against Trevor Lawrence. So you got a chance to change the narratives. The only ones who can change that narrative are the 53 men in that building and the coaching staff. So we will see how it goes. Let's get into the game preview. All right. So we got a lot to talk about here for the night game. This is how it's looking right now. All right. There is a chance of thunderstorms and showers at kickoff until the end of the game. Now, let's not hope, that would just be our luck, that we get out ahead of them by a couple scores and then thunderstorms start rolling in, huh? That would just be our luck, wouldn't it? The precipitation probability is only about 29%. So it's going to be 82 to 83, and it's going to feel anywhere from 90 to 92. Now, you'll have winds. The majority of the game looks like they'll be around 6 miles per hour, and they'll be out of the southwest, so there'll be a little bit of a gust. Cloud cover looks like it's going to be about 85 to 75% in terms of cloud cover. So, got to be able to run the football in that kind of weather. Nick Queck says it's pouring right now in Florida. We're going to get into the injury report here next. And, you got to be able to run the ball in that weather. They can't let Josh Allen get out of the pocket, in my opinion. When we get to my keys to victory, you'll see I kind of agree with that. So the injury report, here's the deal. Here is what we're dealing with, all right? Raheem Mostert is out. Malik Washington is out. Devon Achane and Elijah Campbell are questionable. Now, Devon Achane has been named basically a game time decision. So we will find out whether he's going not till around game time. Now, McDaniel was asked if Moser would only miss Thursday's game or if he could be out for a couple games, and he said, quote, closer to the former, but not ruling out the latter. So this could be multiple games for Mostert, but they feel like it's only going to be one game for now. He said, Devon, we will see how it plays out. Now, McDaniel was also non-committal about whether Jalen Ramsey and Jalen Phillips will play more or less than they did in the opener. So, he said Eichenberg's good to go. And word is Jalen Wright is going to be active, baby. So, Jalen Wright's season, it's going down. All right? So, Liam Eichenberg good to go. On the other side, the Bills, they're without Taron Johnson and Dwayne Smoot. Javon Solomon is doubtful for them. Now, the only one that really hurts there is Taron Johnson, right? He's a star nickelback, basically. Javon Solomon and Dwayne Smoot, they are depth guys off the edge. So it's more so, Taron Johnson is the big name that's out there. This would have been a good game if Malik or OBJ were healthy, where they could have done their thing out of the slot. But instead, nope, they're not healthy. So will Berrios finally do something? Only time will tell. Only time will tell if Berrios is actually going to do something. When you look at how these teams stack up heading into week 2, you see right here, the Dolphins, they have the 5th best total offense number right now at 400 yards, just one game. Now, this does not include, as you can see at the bottom there, the Jets and 49ers game. So, heading into Monday night, the Bills, their 352 yards were 11th best in the NFL. Passing offense, Dolphins were number 1 in the NFL heading into Monday Night Football. Bills were 9th. Rushing, not great for the Dolphins. 81 yards or 25th best. Bills, they had 130 yards, which was 13th best. Scoring offense, Bills, they got down big, but they still managed to put up 34 points. Well, the Dolphins, that first half was a real struggle, so they only ended up putting up 20 points. So Bills, their 34 points were the 3rd best on Sunday. The Dolphins were 16th best heading into Monday Night Football. In terms of sacks allowed, the Bills allowed 4. The Dolphins allowed 3. No one can brag about that. On 3rd down, the Dolphins winded up 50%, which is great because they started off 2 for 6. They started off at a 33.3% clip, but got it up to 50%. Bills on 3rd down, they stayed at 33.3%, so they were not good on 3rd down. On defense, the 267 yards the Dolphins allowed was 10th best in the NFL heading into Monday Night Football. The 270 the Bills allowed was 11th best. In terms of passing defense, Dolphins in the 139 yards they allowed was 9th best. The 146 the Bills allowed was 11th best. Rushing defense, Dolphins, they allowed 128 yards, which is 17th best. Bills allowed 124, which was 16th best. In terms of scoring defense, only allowing 17 points. The Dolphins ranked 7th best after 1 week, while the Bills, then the 28 points they allowed was 22nd. In terms of sacks, Dolphins got 3, Bills got 4. Dolphins had 7th best after 1 week heading into Monday Night Football. They were 7th best in terms of sacks. Bills were 3rd best. On 3rd down defense, the Dolphins only allowed the Jags to convert 20% of their 3rd downs, which was 4th best in the NFL. The Bills allowed a conversion rate of 53.8%. That's 28th in the NFL after 1 week. In terms of takeaway, each team had 1. terms of giveaways, the Bills had one. The Dolphins had none. So that's how these two teams compared heading into Monday Night Football. All right. So let's get into my keys to victory for the Miami Dolphins to win in week 2. And let's start off with my offensive keys to victory. Flat out, you cannot afford another slow start. That's just, there is no, you saw Tua talk about it. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. All right? There's just none. So you cannot afford a slow start by any stretch of the imagination. You left way too many points and big plays on the board early on and even later in the game and can't afford a repeat. You had the missed throw to Tyreek. You had the missed field goal. You had no points off of the 63-yard Waddle reception, etc., etc. You just cannot afford another slow start, and really you can't afford to leave all those points on the board like you did in week 1. Number 2, listen, I get it. People are going to look at the win rates, and the Dolphins right now, in the run block win rate, they're 78% according to ESPN, which is second best. Aaron Brewer has the second best individual run block win rate ranking right now. It's 91%. Guess who number 1 is? It's Robert Hunt of Carolina, 93%. But I digress. You got to get that push early and often and consistent. You got to be able to run the game, especially if the weather isn't going to be good. You got to be able to run the football. And that starts off with the guys in the trenches. I'm looking at you, Robert Jones. I'm looking at you, Liam Eichenberg. Liam Eichenberg wasn't bad, but we need a better push in the run game from these guys. We know we're going to get it from Teron Armstead. We're comfortable with where we're at from Austin Jackson. We're comfortable with where we're at in Aaron Brewer. Those guards need to step their game up. Number 3 for me, you have to control the clock. You dominated time of possession in week 1. All right? We all know this. All right? You had them by the shorts and curls for the most part. Right? You had a time of possession of 33 minutes and 10 seconds to 26:50. Now, they did that by making, the passing game an extension of the run game with all those screens. But the reason why you have to be able to do this, to me at least, is this is an offensive form of defense to keep Josh Allen off the field. You got to keep extending those drives by being good on third down, like how we saw after that 2-6 start. They became pretty much lights out on, third down. I mean, they started off 2 for 6 on third down. And then they basically went 6 for 10 the rest of the way, 60%. So you got to be good on third down. You got to extend your drives. You got to run the football. And you got to dominate the clock the way you did against the Jags. Because you got to keep Josh Allen off the field as much as possible. So for me, you can't afford another slow start. You need better and more consistent push in the run game, especially in the first half. And you need to control the clock. Obviously don't turn the ball over. That's a given. But, control that clock. Keep Josh Allen off the field. Because then if the defense does their job and slows them or shuts them down, there's not going to be very many opportunities. So let's get into my defensive keys and what I want to see from the defense. Don't let Josh Allen go superhuman on you. That's number 1. Is there any doubt? Josh Allen has won 10 of his 12 starts against you. He has 33 touchdown passes to just 7 interceptions. And that's the most he has against any opponent. He's thrown for 3,363 passing yards against you. That's the most against any opponent he's faced. He has 638 rushing yards against you. That's 7.5 yards per carry. That's the most he has against any opponent. You cannot let Josh Allen just dominate you. You can't. Flat out. You can't. So please do not let Josh Allen go superhuman on you. Because he is a one-man army against you and will keep them in the game. You got to be physical stopping the run. I mean, here's the reality. You got to punch them in the mouth and don't let them run wild on you when you know they have transitioned to more of a power run team. We know this is what they are now. All right? You cannot let them just come in and dominate the line of scrimmage and smash you in the mouth and not answer back. They put up 130 yards. James Cook had 71 last week on 19 carries. Josh Allen had 39 of his own on 9 carries. Ray Davis had 13 on 3 carries, and Ray Davis is a guy that I'd be watching out for. Because they're just going to give him more and more carries as they go on here. So, you got to be physical stopping the run. You got to stop the run, but you also got to punch them in the mouth so they don't want to run against you. So when run plays are called, these guys are sighing and grunting and mowing when they got to line up against you. You need to smash them in the mouth. That's just all there is to it. And then you got to minimize your explosive plays. Did you know the Jaguars, 15.1% of their plays in week 1 were explosive? That was the highest in the NFL. And remember, they got shut down in the second half. So what does that tell you? That number could have been even greater. The Vikings were number 2 with about 14.8%. Dolphins were 14th. About 8.5% of their plays were explosive. Now, what's an explosive play? A rush of 10 yards or more, or a pass of 20 yards or more. So 15.1% of their plays, the Jags, were explosive. You cannot allow the Bills to do that. The Bills only had 8.3% of their plays as explosive in week 1. You cannot allow more explosive plays like you did in week 1. You got to clean that up. So, don't let Josh Allen go superhuman on you. Be physical against stopping the run. Punch him right back in the mouth. And you got to minimize the explosive plays because you let the Jags be number 1 in explosive plays after 1 week. So you got to minimize it. Just nothing else to it. So my matchup to watch heading into this week. It's a tag team event. It's a tag team affair. By the way, over 420 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Here's my Tua and McDaniel against Josh Allen and McDermott. Mike McDaniel, can you finally, consistently for 4 quarters, can you and your staff out-coach and get the better of Sean McDermott? You had a problem with this in your final meeting with them last year. You got to clean it up. Tua. I went over Josh Allen. And one more, I'll do it for you. Josh Allen has won 10 of 12 games against the Miami Dolphins. He has 33 touchdown passes, 3,363 passing yards, and 638 yards rushing. Those are the most he has against any opponent, are those touchdown passes, passing yards, and rushing yards. And he only has 7 interceptions. And for a guy who's known for basically, he's basically known as a turnover machine. Now, Tua, in 7 games against the Bills, you got a passer rating of 77.4. You got 1,454 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. And on top of that, we talked about how Josh Allen's won 10 of 12. Tagovailoa's 1-6 against Buffalo. 1-6. We need the Tua we saw December 17, 2022, who threw for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns and had a passer rating of 104. We need that guy to come out. The guy who looked like he belonged in the snow and in the cold weather. You go bring me that guy this weekend. So, and what do you got up your sleeve, McDaniel? You got, Mike White. He's over there. He's letting them know what he knows. You got to have some stuff up your sleeve. You got to hit him. Are you going to hit him with we know last year you wanted to have the Izakama package. This year you got a Jonnu package. Are you going to hit him with the Jonnu package this weekend? I don't know. But there's a lot of pressure on these guys to get it done. And if you haven't had a chance, check out, let's get into this because, first of all, I want to give my prediction. Listen, people are going to call me a homer. I had them winning this game on my predictions. So I'm not going to change at all. I got the Miami Dolphins 24-20. All right. I got the Miami Dolphins winning 24-20. I have Jalen Wright. I think Jalen Wright's going to, chop it up. And I'll go even further. I think Chop Robinson gets his first sack. I've made this prediction all offseason. Jordan Poyer gets a pick on Josh Allen. It's coming. So let's go. And what has Jordan Poyer showed with us? What has he shared with us and showed this defense to help beat them? Very interesting. So, we talked about the halftime speech, and this is why I've said it feels different. I don't think we would have won that Jags game if it was the last 2 years of Flores or the first 2 years of McDaniel. I think they lose. And I want to talk about Tua's halftime speech again because, stuff's been trickling out. Here's what Tua said about his halftime speech on Rear View.
So, when halftime came, that's just not how we operate, and that's not our style of football or what we put on film in the first quarter. So, I took accountability for myself. I got on the coaches to take accountability for the communication of what personnel it is in there and getting the plays in where where we've been lackadaisical. I felt like in the huddle we're breaking it late and we got 9 seconds to operate. Like you just can't operate in this league like that. And then just got some guys to be accountable, caught on some dudes, and leaders as well, with J-Dub, with Reek, and with Armstead. And those dudes are dogs. Like they're dogs. And being able to have that relationship with those dudes and being able to express the feeling that I felt, knowing like that's not us, and it wasn't us. And so it was one of those things where, what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to let that happen? Because if we're going to let that happen, we're going to lose this game. And so, I think everyone was bought in and everyone just turned up from there. And I thought that was a cool turning moment for us offensively. But there's a lot of things that we got to clean up still. But like I said, it's hard to win in this league, and we just found a way to win. And so I'm happy about that.
Now, here's what Berrios said about the halftime speech today.
Yeah, absolutely. We've known that. Tua believes he has the factor. We believe he has the factor. That's nothing new to anybody in this building, to be honest with you. And the speech at halftime last week was game changing, really. You love to see that leadership from your quarterback, and for him to be so emphatic about it and so outspoken. I mean, we really rallied behind him. Now
you got Berrios calling that halftime speech game changing. You know, we've seen the evolution of Tua, not only the football player and Tua the person, but we're seeing the evolution of Tua the player. I got Sam Skeet in my comments that says, damn, Tua sounded like Tom Brady. I told all y'all, when Tua got paid, the chip landed on his shoulder saying, yo, I got to show everyone why I got paid this money. It wasn't like these other guys who kick up their feet, you know, put their head back, sip on a nice whiskey, and just relax. He was like, no, this motivated Tua further, this money he got. He's like, I got to prove all these people who said I didn't deserve this money, I'm going to show y'all why I deserve this money. It's turned Tua into a better leader, into a harder worker, and it's going to turn him into a better football player. And that's the type of leader we need tomorrow night against Buffalo. We need that Tua. Guys, shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this preview video. I'm going to be live tomorrow night around 8 o'clock for the live reaction. We'll go over inactives and everything before the game starts. So smash the like button, subscribe if you're new on the way out, and I will see each and every one of you with my new background tomorrow night. Until then, fins up all day, every day.